Oh, sorry. Show 30 seconds.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. We're back in open session. We're back in open session out of our recess, and I would like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, if we could be led by our students. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This whole mix-up is I'm all flustered. So, do we have any motion to make as a result of executive session?
Yes, we do.
Can I hear a motion?
Where
for
did it
that?
go?
It's on your screen. Wait.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the 2023-2024 negotiated agreement.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Any abstain? I just didn't hear all the ayes. Okay, that motion passes. And we will move on to a presentation from the Lake Pend Oreille High School students. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, Superintendent Meyer and Clerk Fisher, I would like to just present some students here that are going to talk to you about Lake Pend Oreille High School. Just want to let you know that we do things a little bit different there. And so really to talk about that, though, I'd like to introduce David, Aaliyah, Phillip, and Tyler.
So, at LPO, we tend to do things very differently than your traditional high school. We go around and we help around the community with things such as raking leaves. We built benches for the apartments that are across the street from us so people could sit down. And we also make cigarette ash disposers.
Mm-hmm.
So they put those cigarettes in their water when they're done rather than throwing them out on the floor. And we also grow our own food, our own vegetables out in Chef's Garden. And we use that to cook food for students during, like after school or, just as a snack during the day. And also, the teachers at the school, they always try to build a very close relationship with the students. So, they always talk to them about their interests and just make the students feel very comfortable in the environment.
And I am David. I will be talking about the relationships, and I will bring up mostly more of what I deal with, my relationships with certain teachers and their staff at the school, as well as my relationship with students and the broader schemes of what we do at the school to really get to know each other. I want to start by talking about Brett. He's the English teacher. He does freshman to senior English, I think. And I met him sophomore English, yeah. 10th grade I met him. Coolest guy I met at the school so far. We like to talk about multiple things. We play basketball together. Every day is hanging out. We talk about books. The environment is very forthcoming. He lets you know right out the gate, every teacher does, that it's an environment you can talk to them. They're willing to talk to you about really anything, except for certain things, of course. and with that, you get this class environment that every student can talk to each other and just, no one's really not a friend with one another. I don't think I've had a fight since I've been at the school.
That's good.
Yeah. There's been a lot of that. On to the family meetings. This is probably the coolest thing I've ever experienced was family meetings. So each advisory, there's certain students in each advisory, right? There's 9 in total, and each advisory gets a month that they set up a family meeting. So each student is involved. It's not the teacher's job to make the family meeting. And everyone works on it. They all come together, everyone's doing this and that, everyone has a task for it. And at the end of it, you go to this family meeting on Friday, 2 weeks later after you get the marker for whoever's the advisory at the time. You go in, you play games, you get rewards. Teachers nominate students. It's just a great time, and really, no one's having a problem. Everyone's chilling. That's how I wanted to finish it. Thank you very much.
All right. At our school, there's a lot of different ways they keep us engaged. And for example, chef's class, we have built, there's a lot of PBL learning, which is project-based learning. So we built flower beds, and then that's where we grow the flowers and the vegetables and stuff in the garden. And then, I didn't do it, but they built a fence around the garden. And, or in Randy's class, we can get to play with clay, or he's having to paint rocks and make wreaths right now. But, or in Brenda's class, Brenda has us do a lot of labs for science. And we get to, we did Geiger counters, which is to test the radioactiveness and stuff, which that was really fun. Or lifting a brick with a toothpick. That one was fun too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. They keep us engaged. It's fun.
That's great.
Cool.
All right, my name is Tyler Neshkov, and my part of this speech was about community outreach. Now, the LPO does a lot to get back to its community. One of our leaders, David was talking about the advisories, leading an advisory, and they went down to Hickory Park and repainted the benches, repainted the tables and stuff like that. And how Philip was saying, my advisory went down and we built cigarette boxes and benches for the mill town appointments. And Randy has been putting together, I think for Mother's Day, you buy some flowers for your mom, I guess. We actually brought flowers out for you guys too, so.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, those are great looking baskets.
How do people buy them? I've seen your greenhouse.
Wow.
Do they
These are
just
for
come
the
to
Team
greenhouse and
These are great.
And that's all Randy's work.
That's very impressive. Thank you.
Don't feel like we left you out, the other board members. These are for Mother's Day flower baskets. That's why the two of them get them.
This is beautiful. Thank you.
One more. Okay.
Okay.
So our counselor Deb, she's very helpful. As you can see, she's helped Tallulah and Savannah a lot to get their scholarships because they want to go and be one of them wants to go be an OBGYN doctor. I'm not sure what the other one wants to do, but I know they both really want to go to college. So she's helped them out a lot. And she also helps a lot of people, if there's any drama between people, you go talk to Deb and she's very helpful with it. So she's a good counselor.
Students for the year.
It's hard at first, but once you get to know everybody and get to know your teachers, I think you would really like it here. And there's more time along the student, and they can help you out more.
Awesome. So different from other schools you've attended.
Rooms and there's just homework. It's really, really interesting here, and it's cool. What I've learned from being here so far is not everybody can really fix, but once you give them the
Yeah, we think it's
About
that.
attending LPO.
I do. It is very fun, and I've been learning a lot here.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So student, what do you?
I enjoy the fact that the teachers here, I feel, care more about their students and they're more connected. The classes are small for us to talk.
You can fill in.
You can form.
He's basically just talking about how the classes are small enough to where everyone can interact with one another without there being too much trouble, and teachers are very willing to help you.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. I know. I appreciate you coming and presenting to us. Are there any questions for the students here from the trustees? Would all of you say you feel like you have a adult in the school that you feel really has your back, that knows you? Yeah. That's cool. That's important. He was nodding. Thank you so much. Is there anything else? Principal Miles, thank you.
No, that's all. Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Excellent.
Keep it up.
Yep.
Oh, and
Well, and Dr. Meyer brought you something. So we're going to move right on to the... You students are welcome to stay as long as you like, but you're also welcome to leave if you need to go do other things.
they're going to go do their homework, they said.
Yeah, go do that. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, guys.
And we'll transition right to the superintendent report. Thank you, Dr. Becky Meyer.
Thank you, Randy.
Is this coming right after hers? Is this right after hers? Yeah. Yes, it is. I see it. Thanks.
Students, and thanks to staff for coming.
You know what? I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'll say 3 minutes.
I do have a little bias because I was the
Yes, you
worked at
were.
LPOSD for
Yes.
5 years. So
Was that your first principal assignment?
I
Yes.
loved that school very much. And I always take credit for Brian Smith, who's the association president, because I was the principal there when I hired him. And then he transferred over to Sanford High School, and then I went to Sanford High School. So
Yeah.
if everything's working well, I take credit for Brian. Just kidding. All right, so superintendent report for May. It's very quick this month. My batteries went dead, so my human click this month. I do want to say we have a parent patron that was concerned about the Design for Change class and just had questions about that. We did a little research, and at Sandpoint Middle School, that course was actually started at Washington Elementary, and the teacher started it. It was a community connection. They had community projects and created just a connection with the community, did projects, did service things, and created like a service attitude with the students on how they could help better the community. That did go up to the middle level when that teacher transferred there, but we do have to remove that class as an elective next year at Sandpoint Middle School because we are going to increase the social studies. We're not having the 2 years of U.S. history at the secondary level anymore. No one in the state's doing that, but we're moving Casey McLaughlin, who's here, Director of Secondary Teaching. He's looking at a social studies vertical alignment, and we're looking at that possibly being the next curriculum adoption. So he's working with the secondary folks, and that may change as we move forward. But for next year, there's going to be 2 semesters of social studies, so we can't fit in that Design for Change next year at the middle level. So I wanted to make sure that people heard that. Okay, the next thing is just the same slide, giving you, as we have a superintendent transition, here's the P of A, the same areas that I'm going to touch and bring you up to date on. Plan of action. So the first one is we're having our very first kindergarten roundup this week.
Oh, it is.
I would love to have you stop by or any of your local schools if you're in the area, just to see. They have had a piece of this at some schools before, but it's going to be district-wide. We're having the entire day dedicated. We have guest teachers for substitutes. We call them guest teachers for our kindergarten teachers, so that incoming families will get to meet their kindergarten teachers. They will have an admin assistant to help with pre-registration. Principal will be available. We're having little cookies, not these big nice ones that the clerk spoils you guys with. But every school will have this at elementary. So this is the first time that we're doing it district-wide, and we're super excited about it.
8:30 to 11 or noon to 3:30.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's just like open house, drop in and say hi.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they are doing a short little screener. So that will help us with placement. It helps us get ready for over the summer. So we do have a short little screener. It's really quick. It's less than a couple of minutes for us to get some screening done so that they can know where they're coming in, and they can even help families if they'd like some of that. But they're helping, all of our staff's going to be available to help. It'll be really useful for new families to our system. This is the first time you have brand new babies going into kindergarten. It's going to be very helpful, I think, instead of like, what do I do? So I'm excited about this. I'm going to have my second coffee clutch. As you know, I reported back to how many people and the great turnout and the topics I shared with you, the board, and with all of the parents in our community. I shared what the topics were that came up at the first coffee clutch. We did have some feedback, like what about a different time? So I'm doing an afternoon one this time. Thank you again to Starbucks. They give free coffee, and they actually cut up little treats. Again, not these big nice cookies that your clerk spoils you with, but they cut up some little treats and donated and free coffee. So if you know anybody that wants to talk to the superintendent and ask questions, make suggestions, this Thursday, May 25th, we're going to try an afternoon one and see what the turnout is this time. That'll be my second one. As always, because this is available to the public after I present to you the board, I always like to put in a link to the EduBlog for that month. This is our April loop, and it has some really great things. I hope the board is able to take advantage of all of the great proactive, positive communication we have. This really just is helping people in the community to see. One of the biggest things with public education is once people see what we're doing with the amount of money we have, they're usually just flabbergasted at how wonderful we are. But they oftentimes hear rumors about things that we're either doing or not doing. Once you actually expose and say, look at what we're doing, and bring awareness to the community, I think the support for public education greatly increases. So that was one of my top goals of being hired, was to increase communication. So then the next one is I wanted to make sure we do have a lot of legislation. We've talked about it. I've done a few things in the board updates. I want to bring to the public, when I have a superintendent report, just ones that we're working on as a staff. I'd like you to just be aware of what we're doing, and so you know what steps we're taking to make sure the new legislation goes into practice. So the first one is our open enrollment. I have talked to you publicly about my concern about that law. I'm put it on record prior, and I'm saying it again. I'm concerned about this one because we have such a great educational system in this district. I'm concerned that people will be an influx of people wanting to come to our district because our education, we do have very high test scores, and we have very great, reasonable classroom sizes, excellent quality of teachers. We have great, just a lot of really good system here, and I'm concerned that there will be people moving from other areas that aren't paying our taxes, but it is new law that you can be living anywhere in the state and come into our school system. I do want the board to be aware there was a February deadline that was suggested. It is now in law. There's a February 1 deadline. You can apply to come to the district anytime else throughout the year, but we are going to have to stand firm to February 1st deadline. So going into this next year, people may apply, and we can decide, our district leadership will decide who can come in depending on the cap sizes. So we will come up with cap sizes. Anyone who applies, if there's room in those classes, K through 6, there's classroom sizes. Secondary is based on core classes, and a cap size for core classes, which would be your English, math, science, social studies. Then you would let them in. You cannot revoke students based on their attendance or behavior concerns, which are in the current policy and current law. After 2 years of attendance, they are grandfathered in, and they cannot be revoked. So they become our students no matter where they live after they've been here 2 years. So it's going to be imperative that we're very clear in the beginning, and we address any issues that we have concerns with out-of-district students with behavior or attendance, especially now that we are going back to ADA, average daily attendance funding. That is going to be imperative that we hit that right off the mark the very first year with any students. So I just want you to be aware. I just really want the board to be aware. There also is tuition for non-resident, meaning that, and we haven't talked about this, I'm only just putting it out there for further discussion. I just want, in rereading the law, what was adopted, I want people to know, we could as a district charge, if there's somebody coming from a different district, let's say they're coming up from Coeur d'Alene, we could charge Coeur d'Alene tuition for that student to come up to here, which our tax rate may be higher than some of the surrounding districts. I'm not recommending one way or the other right now. There's pros and cons to both. I just want to at least say these are the highlights from the new bill that I think is important that you see. Okay.
When would we need to be making some decisions on these?
At the June board meeting, because we are going to be
Because it has to be in place.
Yep, in place for August for when we start this process. So my
This will be part of June meeting.
Yeah, my plan was to bring back some recommendations into the June meeting for that.
Okay.
Can you have those pros and cons
Sure.
at that time?
Absolutely. I can share a meeting before that time with the board.
Yeah.
Just so you can be thinking about them. I really want to ask other superintendents in Region 1,
How it's
is anybody else
changing.
plan on, this has not come up. Nobody has said they're going to charge tuition, and so I'm wondering if we would be the only ones. I just want to have that information for the board prior to making that decision. Any other questions about that open enrollment?
No.
New parent rights bill, right when I was hired on, Mr. Albertson, you had just passed the parents' right bill,
Yep.
board policy in this district.
Yep.
It was very comprehensive. There are a few more items I think that have been added to the new legislation. I've linked it in here. I just wanted the board to be, and the public and parents to be aware that we appreciate this bill and we honor parents. One of our strategic plans is really to be able to connect with parents and increase the amount of connection in the building again, now that we're after the COVID, that we can increase more parent involvement and connection with the schools. That is one of our top 4 pillars of the strategic plan. So just appreciate that this is coming out at this time. I want the board to know that at our last K-12 admin team meeting, we brought this out, we broke into groups and we started brainstorming how we can help to facilitate this even more. So I'll give you more update, but I just wanted to at least let you know that we were aware and that our administrators are starting to work on that.
And that at a certain point, it'll come to us for
Yep.
review,
Yes.
first reading and second reading.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. And
Perfect.
just to summarize what you both just said, in case that didn't get on record, is that we do have a lot of new legislative bills that have come through. Those all go through the process of getting, okay, what do we need to update in our board policy, our protocols, our procedures, so we make sure and follow the
Trickles
Idaho
through,
code.
yeah.
And there's IDAPA rule, administrative rule, which will come. So all of that will go into effect, and we will get that all in place before we start school in the fall, so that we're in compliance as a district. This is a very big deal. I want to let you know, we have a manager of the year. Her name's Angie, and if you go to the next one, this is what they did at Washington, and her principal is here. Bobby Coleman and Angie could not be here tonight, but they both are going to watch this video, so when they're looking, if we give a big shout out. Angie's been in the district for quite a while. There was only 5 winners across the entire United States. This is a big deal. This is not just like, oh, in our state or our district. Like, this is a very big deal. She is manager of the year for child nutrition for the whole Western region. Only 5 in the United States, and she is one. She's wonderful. She sits on the CDI team. She's just a wonderful human being.
Awesome.
Bobby said they made that crown for her out of juice boxes, milk boxes, and sporks. So if we can get her, even though she's not here,
That is awesome.
she's very humble and she's just a really good person. So congratulations to her and thank you to for the nomination and that we have somebody of that caliber in our district. It's wonderful.
I'm so glad you shared that.
Yeah. Okay, any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
That was good. Thank you. Don't fall down. At this time, we have public comment, and we only have one signed up, Geraldine Meyer. Welcome. And you know the 3-minute Just saying. Here, pass that down.
Give me a 30-second warm up.
Lonnie will flash his hand.
Okay.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Carolyn Meyer. I'm the post-secondary transition counselor at Sandpoint High School with a recovering broken leg, so I'm happy that I get to walk. But I just wanted to invite the board, I know you have to be careful of forums, but on May 23rd at Sandpoint High School at 6 p.m., we do our local scholarship presentation. And it is by far one of my most favorite things that I get to participate in at Sandpoint High School. In our community, there are 84 different scholarships that Sandpoint High School students, LPO students, Clark Fork students, homeschool students, Forestburg, all students, seniors that are going on to some type of post-secondary transition can apply for. Currently at Sandpoint High School, we had 63 different students apply, and they completed 894 applications.
Whoa.
And it's just, and then if you, and I'm so excited because LPO has the most scholarship applications they've had in probably 4 years. Clark Fork has a lot, homeschool students, Forestburg, and I think what's exciting to me is the generosity of our community. We have been able to add 1 or 2 scholarships every single year for the past 5 years. There's a new scholarship this year about drive. It has nothing to do for what students are interested in, and if they go to a traditional college or a tech school or trade school. It's about what kind of drive does that student have to complete. They don't care about GPA. It's just the student has to show some kind of drive to do what they want to do. And it's exciting, and it was an anonymous donation from our community, $20,000 just this year. I mean, it is exciting, the scholarships that we have. Every elementary school now offers a scholarship to one of their graduates. We have things that the fairgrounds do. We have ones that Life Choices. I mean, there's just a variety of scholarships of sportsmen and just all sorts of things so that any student who has an interest can apply. The Ambrosiani Scholarship, you have to have less than a 3.3. You have to have a 2.0 to a 3.3. I mean, it's just so many opportunities for our students. I just wanted to let you know that's happening May 23rd. And what we want to continue to grow is the continuing. We even have more students who are in their program now, continuing or applying for scholarships. And that program, part of that new donation will be supporting those students as well. So if you can come on May 23rd, we have one, Clark Fork has one, LPO has one. They're just great. Just buy those elephant ears when you're at the fair. I just want to say thank you, and thanks for letting Sandpoint High School host the site that is open to everybody to apply.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Thanks.
We got 3 on them, right on the button.
She's a pro.
It's almost like you've done this.
Encouraged later. Okay. Huh? I don't have any opposition to it.
Your call as a chair.
Well, is she still here?
She put in written comments to you guys.
What happened?
Would you like me to grab her?
Well,
She just turned in written
she
comments.
turned in some written comments and we didn't catch her soon enough. But I'll share out the written comments and then we can invite her back if she'd like to come. And I'm not even sure.
So as point of reference, since there was a public comment continuing while she was talking to me, she submitted her public comment. I will email as a patron comment to the board, and I invited her back to the next board meeting, and I have her email address.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't know she was exiting, and it was to board's chair's prerogative to accept her comment because the meeting had already started, so I
Okay,
didn't want to
sorry.
interrupt.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on in the agenda to consent agenda. And is there a motion to approve consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes, and we are going to move on to the, some action items, permission to use LPO equipment for summer football. And who's presenting that one?
I think it's just a written.
So we all had that report in here. It's fairly self-explanatory. It is what we review every year
Yeah, that was every
to approve using this equipment for their camp. Is there any other questions on this?
I did have one question on it. I don't know, is this the same exact way it was presented last year, or because this financial considerations, what it says there, basically they're gonna log in and inventory everything that goes out to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to add anything in there about like expectations of payback for
If there's
loss of
damage?
damaged equipment? Or is that not normal?
So
I've never seen that in how we approve this. I guess I've always just worked on the assumption
Honor system.
that the coaches handle that. Like, yeah,
'Cause,
you go to football camp and lose your helmet, it's probably on you.
Yeah, as long as it's clear. I just don't know if it needs to be clear here when we approve it so that it's like a done deal on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
I've never seen that on our side. I don't think it's been an issue, but
We haven't had it specifically outlined in this way. And to be honest, usually the financial considerations piece is how will is there any output of money on the district's part? So that's why it says not applicable, because we are not spending any money to make this available. However, your point is valid. If there was damage, it would be on
It says they'll inventory and issue and collect equipment.
yeah. They'll make sure everything that goes out comes
Why
back.
do that if we're not going to?
In case somebody loses something.
Well,
I
I can speak to that,
Yeah,
board
go
chair,
ahead.
that if there is any damages, there is restitution. If there's anything that's broken, they will take care of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the change for, if I may, board chair,
Yes, please.
the recommendation for motion was very specific to dates. I made that consistent like the board has over the last 5-6 years, as some of those dates change, which we had an issue with last year. So just due to weather, it was pushed back. So your motion, your recommended motion that I added is more
Specific.
no, general than as
Uh-huh.
specific as written in the agenda
Right.
request.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's recommended here, and then your motion's a little more. Uh-huh. Well,
I have to say every day.
Correct.
mhm. For the summer competition practices.
And I'm good with it the way it is. That's why I was asking if that's what we've done in the past. I just didn't know if it needed to be in here or not. So I'm good with
Done it
whatever.
this way, but we could maybe add a note to address that the athletic director knows to ask restitution for any lost equipment or damaged equipment.
Or some type of
Yeah.
signal, like they have to sign it, something to say they know. Is that part of the?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
it might be part of their, I'm assuming they have some sort of permission slip to do this, since it's, and
Yep.
I would gather, I mean, I haven't seen the permission slip, but I'm guessing there's some language in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can follow through with
Conduct
that.
out of camp.
Okay, if we would follow through on that note.
Okay.
And so I will hear a motion for this request.
I make a motion to grant permission for Sandpoint High School to use the football equipment for the summer football competitions and practices in 2023.
I'll second that.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. We have the second reading of a policy. As you know, this is the social media policy that was read to us first time and had input from administrators and teachers.
Yep.
So we've seen this. I don't know if anybody has any other questions. This is second reading. The changes are highlighted.
It's actually third reading.
This is third, yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh,
I
that's true,
remember I asked to
because
table
it
it.
came, we tabled it, so it was first reading after we had gotten the input. It is second reading now, so it's still second reading.
Right.
But we've seen it 3 times.
Yeah.
Is there, I will entertain a motion if there are no questions.
Can we make a motion to accept it?
That's,
Not do
yes,
a third
that's,
reading? Like, right?
yes, that is, we would be making a motion to approve it. Yes, that's what second reading's for.
I guess I'd make a motion to, adopt policy 5328, employee use of social media sites.
I'll second that.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. We have a couple of first readings, and if we'll start with the Title I Family Engagement, 2420. Is there anybody who's presenting on this, or should I just? The changes. Just go ahead. It's the.
Yeah, so it is 1 apostrophe. This comes to you every year from the committee, the parent committee that looks at this for Title I Family Engagement. And the addition is 1 apostrophe.
Was it Pearlie's catch?
Yeah, who caught that? Not you?
No, I actually a parent in the crowd.
Ah, all right. So that's our first reading on that one. I doubt there's a lot of confusion on that. And we're going to move on to the first reading of the next one. It takes me longer to flip through these than to actually, the prohibition of tobacco possession and use. And you saw, it's not a very long one, but you saw the changes include, and I don't know if Dr. Myers, any comment
Just
on
because
that?
of the vaping, we need to add the nicotine and not just say tobacco.
It covers the,
And that was the only change, basically.
Yep.
yeah, all the way through.
Yes.
So those are the 2 first readings, and then that same language, even though we don't have to approve it, is in the procedure. The 3305P, which is the procedure for it, it just follows through that same language at the beginning. As I said, it takes me longer to flip back and forth. So we do have a review of the policy, procedures, and exhibits for graduation requirements. You all have that document 2700P. And there is just one change to U.S. history. And we have some people here who can speak to that.
I spoke about it in my superintendent report. We did allow 2 years of U.S. history at Sandpoint High School. The state is only requiring the 1 year. So Mr. McLaughlin is going to be working with secondary 7th through 12th on vertical alignment. And the team has decided to start U.S. history down in secondary and have more there and to carry through up through the high school. So he'll be bringing more to you from the team.
Okay, and that is just review, and thank you.
Sorry, Chair.
Sorry. It's just it's dropping down to 8th grade.
Oh, sorry.
It was in 10th grade, and now it's dropping down to 8th grade.
Okay, I said 7th. No.
Yeah. Or sorry, yeah, it's 8th grade.
8th grade.
So
Okay.
the 2 years they'll do it is, you're saying,
Instead of 10th grade and 11th grade, now it's going to be 8th grade and 11th grade for U.S. But then there's still other social studies classes.
so it was 2, was it 2 before? Also?
At the high school level.
At the high school level, it was 2?
It was in 10th and 11th.
Yeah, 2 years of history.
Now
at
that-
high school level.
Clarify, the state has lowered the requirement at the high school level, so we're picking it up.
The state lowered it back when I was the principal at Sandpoint High School, but the social studies department made the point, as anyone, there's several social studies teachers in the audience, we keep adding the content, we keep adding to the content every day in U.S. history, so it's hard for us to fit it in 1 year, Becky. We need we need more time to go through it thoroughly, and that social studies department is very strong at Sandpoint High School, so we allowed them to continue the 2 years, and now they made the decision to allow, one of the years is going to go to the middle level because that will free up some space for other electives at the secondary level at Sandpoint High School. And you can see LPO and Clark Fork did not have the 2 years. It was just at Sandpoint High School.
So as you saw in your own, on your computers, this is review only. So it's just what's in the procedure for graduation. So we're going to move on to the organization chart, which is another review only. And I know I just wanted to touch on the few changes.
Sure.
And one of them, there was a question with a trustee, is the HR has now moved to reporting directly to superintendent rather than through the CFO position. That's the main change I see.
Yeah, and the HR director is a new position. Remember, we had a senior HR specialist and an HR specialist. So the model that I am going with and that I spoke to the board about is an HR director, and then with an HR assistant that helps with there's a lot of clerical and logistical upkeep with HR, as you know, Tanya, in your prior profession. So the HR in the school business, 87% of our budget is personnel, and it equates to about 87% of the time you spend on personnel issues. And so I was going to have that directly under the superintendent. And then I've talked to all those involved. This wasn't just me making the decision. And then the tech director is going under the CFO, so it'll be in line with the other directors. And another benefit for our district is Brian Wallace, who is our CFO in the audience, started officially May 1st, and there's the overlap with him and the current CFO, is he was a tech director before, so he also lends, we noticed today in the operations team, he already knew quite a bit in something that we were doing with a new system, so he lends a lot of validity to that position as well, to help with that oversight.
Okay. Are there any questions about the chart? Again, it's a review, it's just for us. We see this in the budget packet. It's typically one of the first pages that we see in our budget packet each year, and I'm assuming it'll still say that way with our new CFO. So, now we're already at announcements?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Administrative announcements. Principals?
Has a time thing. No.
What do you have?
I'm multitasking, sorry. Tomorrow I have not a coffee clatch, I'm calling it a coffee chat, and I'm hoping to beat Dr. Meyer and have more attendees.
Wow. She's not competitive though.
Tomorrow morning at Washington at 7:45, if anybody wants to come. And Thursday we do kindergarten roundup at Washington, but we always did it in August. And we're switching as a district, and so Thursday is kindergarten roundup. And then it's May, it's busy. And then I guess Friday is we just finished ISAT, and so we were having a popsicle party at 2 o'clock if you want to come.
Wow.
Music, some popsicles. So that's this week. But
And can you say your name and where you're principal
Oh,
at?
I'm sorry. I'm Tasha Hamer, the principal of Washington Elementary.
Thanks, Tasha.
Okay, Geraldine, are you Jackie from Sandpoint High School?
High school.
That's correct.
We're just brainstorming coffee time with JJ here as a competition.
Oh.
I'm feeling like we can up the ante, so we'll be working on that soon. But our 11th graders and 12th graders have been busy doing AP testing.
Oh, yeah.
We had 130 test-taking students completing 10 different subjects for a total of 251 tests. So the brain power is mighty at Sandpoint High School.
Wow, that's
exciting.
Yeah.
That's the way that looked there.
I think that might be a record.
I was wondering.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, the mess across the street.
Kristen?
I know, there's gonna be a lot of dust this summer, isn't there?
I'll plant something there.
Kristen Hawkins is our community relations liaison. Do you have any
Anything else?
announcements?
Sorry, I don't know what I missed at the beginning. I was at kiddo soccer practice. I think kindergarten roundup would be the big announcement. We're looking forward to having a district-wide day. And then additionally, I got to see Academica present at Kiwanis yesterday, and I don't know that I've ever seen a group of students more eloquently represent our district. I was like so incredibly proud. So that was really special. And I don't know if you all knew this, but they earned the highest score that any Idaho academic team has ever earned in the history of our state.
At nationals.
At nationals.
Yeah. In Texas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Awesome.
Is there
Mr. Miles, do you have anything from LPO?
Oh.
Yeah, those flowers aren't free. Come and buy them. They're $25. You can show up at LPO.
Oh, yeah.
No,
those ones are already.
We got your guys'.
Okay.
Let me rephrase that.
For us guys.
The other 3 if they want to get a Mother's Day.
Can show up at LPO. And
Okay, good.
we've been really busy doing that, planting the garden. We've got a couple of teachers taking students around planting other gardens. They're planting one at the community Center. They're working with the public library. They're working with the food bank and planting gardens there.
That's
and
awesome.
so, yeah, lots of community outreach going on right now. So.
That's really
Christ
good.
Our Redeemer too, I think. They're at.
Yes, who grows specific beds for the community bank.
Yeah.
Or food for the food bank.
It's cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
Am I allowed to make an announcement?
Oh, do you have an announcement?
Well, I just
And-
wanted to go on record and say something real quick about a vote review. Am I able to do that? Or?
A vote earlier in today?
Well, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that I wanted to support our teachers and all that. And my voting no wasn't about anything but the extracurricular thing.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
I did not know what
I just wanted to go on
happened there.
record for all those people watching and everybody here. I want our teachers to be paid, and I like the contract. I just don't like that it's all together and I have to vote on the whole thing or not the whole thing.
Okay.
I see. Okay, yeah.
That's my announcement.
Thank you for the
Sorry
clarity.
if I'm
Yes.
out of line.
No,
No,
that's,
no, I was giving you a confused
that's-
look, like I was like, I don't know what
That
I'm
was it.
seeing it. Okay. So with that
Thank you.
confusion cleared up, meeting is adjourned.